And this is DJ Wolf again. I got more, something else I got to talk about too. I'm finding out more and more, and this ain't pertaining to all young people. It's pertaining to some of our young black brothers out here that don't like to listen to no goddamn body. And it just really irks me to no end. You give them solid advice about stuff, and they're like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Living in Cleveland wasn't the easiest thing for me. It wasn't. There were good times. There were bad times. There were times I wish I had been, grew up in the city, and there's times I really missed being there. And I grew up in a two-party family household, mother and father. And when I was younger, my dad used to ride me about a lot of different stuff, man. All the time. Even stuff that had nothing to do with me. And I caught hell doing it. Even my sister years ago said, yeah, I used to feel bad for you because you used to catch hell from dad all the time talking stuff about this, that, and the other. And most of it had nothing to do with you. And it's true. But the one thing I did, one thing I did and one thing I didn't do. One thing I did was listen. Whether he was right or wrong was irrelevant. Whether I agreed with him or disagreed with him or not was relevant. I listened. The one thing I didn't do was to talk back. And my dad has attested to that to this day. I was never one to do either one. I was always one to listen, but I was always one to never talk back. And he'll tell you, so I'm the only one out of all the kids that didn't give him a lot of grief when it came to that. Except once, where I knew I was right and he was clearly wrong. But beyond that, I always listen to him. Because you never know what advice your parents can give you from their experience from things that they've dealt with. Especially from two parents that you had that grew up during Jim Crow. Okay? If anything, you should not only respect them, but thank them. And I have. Alright? Now, with that in mind, okay, I tried talking to young kids today about stuff. Today's kids. The kids who really were 2-3 generations from that. I was the last generation, because I was born in 64. I was the last generation to actually, I was the first generation to come out of Jim Crow. But I was the last one that just missed facing it. So, Jim Crow was slowly coming out of, was out of law by the time I came out right. So I was the first generation that didn't grow up around Jim Crow, but I still respected my parents who did. Because they called hell on it. They did. No doubt about it. Especially in rural Mississippi. All right. Now, these kids today are kind of like removed from it by 20, 25, 30 years. All right. And the kids today, oh my God, they don't listen to anybody, man. And I've even heard a couple of YouTubers say, well, you need to blame your older generation for not doing this, not doing that. Well, they survived. They did do that. They survived for you. They did do that too. And talking about, well, they didn't leave you any money and no welfare. Because, to be honest, some of the parents of my generation didn't make the kind of money that some of us are making today. That's mainly why. The opportunities weren't given like they are to the generation of kids today. Even my generation wasn't given quite that opportunity that the kids are given today. These kids today have oodles of opportunities, man. You just gotta look for it. You go online. I mean, you could create your own businesses. These kids doing it every day. There's a guy on YouTube who's an animator. Very good animator for his age too. Very good young animator. He, and he just said, I'm not gonna I'm gonna give it up to do it for full time for YouTube, and he's brilliant. And I follow this guy. He's again, it's the guy that does. He has a channel called Cartoon Connect that does. Knows one of his main characters, better known as Lil Ron Ron. And I'm proud of this guy. I really am, and I'm hoping he gets this message. I'm really proud of him because one of the things I've always wanted to do when I was growing up was animation. I love animation. I've done animation myself. I've even done animation on one of on this channel and my other two channels. And I actually want to do animation so bad. I just recently created an animation channel called Cartoon Cray Cray, which not only hosts some of the stuff that I've done, and it's not real, nothing like what he's done, but I've actually got a link to actually post up cartoons from the major studios as well. There's also links to those that you can watch as well. And I'm actually trying to work on learning animation to a point where I can get good enough where I can start doing it myself the way I really want to do it, because I have several ideas. I haven't actually put them down on paper yet, because that's the other thing I need to do. I need to get a software for screenplay writing or something along that line, because I'm amped to do it. I really am. My biggest issue is time. We always say do it while you're young, and I really do want to do it while I'm young. While I have the fresh mind to do it. Anyway, but I think he's following his dream, and he's been blessed to be able to do what he does, and he's really good at it. You got some people who aren't willing to work for the dreams that they really want, and I think part of that because there's a number of young people that don't like to listen to their parents, aunts, uncles, guardians, brothers, sisters, what have you. They want to listen to everybody else on the streets, thinking, yeah, that's the way to do it. When you got family who've been there and have struggled and have worked to get to where they at by all the right measures, those are people you should be listening to the most. And I'm finding out that, even some family members that I talk to don't like to listen, and I try. But like somebody was saying earlier, sometimes you gotta let them figure it out for himself. At some point, when you got young people that get to a certain age, maybe it's time to let them figure it out for themselves and do their own thing. Which I tend to agree, But the younger ones, you gotta really get into their grind today before they get out there, before they get too old to tell them anything. But to the young people in general, you need to listen to your elders. And I'm talking about wise elders, not no mud bone or anybody like that. All those, some mud bones might be pretty smart, but to make a long story short, what I'm trying to say is, you got an elder person that's been able to do their thing throughout life, or just somebody who knows enough about life to steer you away from bullshit. Listen to them. It ain't always about them leaving you money. It's about them being able to guide you in your life where you can actually be able to be successful in doing your own thing. Don't sit there and jibber jab about, but this, but no. Take time to listen. You may not agree with everything they say, but take time to listen so you can take something out of that. Because sometimes advice can be the best thing for you when it's right. Especially from people who've been able to tell you about advice that's good for you. That allow them to be able to flourish. But some of y'all don't want to do that, though. And I'm telling you right now, with all this mess going on right now, with Trump and all this other bullshit that's happening, best you start listening to people who've been out there and been successful, and stop hating about, well, look at you, no, fuck that. Listen to them. I'm telling you. And that's part of the problem. I think that's part of the identity of the problem with our culture We don't want to listen to people who've been out there and been successful doing their thing. You're too busy running off at the mouth criticizing about the fact, oh, you get good money, you ain't giving me none, and all the other goofy shit. Instead of going out there to learn how to do it for yourself. Somebody else was saying that on YouTube a couple of nights ago, and I totally agree. You know, you're too busy trying to get something out of everybody else, but you ain't trying to get anything out of knowledge-wise to do for yourself. You know? And lies the problem. A major problem. That's part of our culture, man. And we need to get out that bullshit. You know? It's a gimme attitude. That's what they were saying. And they're right. You know? You gotta get out of that. And like James Brown used to say, no, open up the door and I get it myself. This is DJ Wolf. Just going to give you something to chew on. Because this is a big chomp that you got to chomp at the bit about. This is something I've been waiting to chomp at the bit about. Getting to some of y'all young people's heads about getting your life right, man. And cut some of the bullshit out. You know. And one other thing I want to say, you know, I think for me, I had friends. I had friends that did this, and I had friends that did that. But in the long run, is what are you going to do for yourself? You know, what are you going to do to get your life right? And don't worry about trying to, you know, hanging out with friends. Because at some point you had to grow up. You know, and not worry about all that. Get your life together. You know, should be your main focus. All right, guys. Questions or comments? Yeah, if you want to get access to my email, my Facebook page, of course, is DJ Wolf Live on Facebook. And you can also look it up under DJ Wolf Live page on Facebook. And if you want to reach my Twitter, it's at For All To Hear, and YouTube page is For All To Hear TV. All right, guys, that's all I got for right now. Just want to give you something to chew on because I was chomping at the bit to tell you about it. All right, guys, that's all I got for right now. I got more shit on the background. Talk to you guys later.